Today we're going to look at testing how odorless mineral spirits and water blend out colored pencil on wood grain. Hi guys, Valarie with Drawing with Fire, and today we are going to look at blending out different colored pencils with both Mona Lisa paint thinner and mineral spirits and the Finesse colored pencil blender pen along with water. I've burned on the wood grain so that we can see how everything reacts. We are looking at using the Polychrormos, the Albrecht Drurer, the Inktense, the Prismacolor Verithin, and the regular Prismacolor. So let's get started. Okay, I wanted to show you something really quick that I look for when I am applying color to wood, even wood paper. And this is a strip of the Dick Blick that I just briefly sanded after our little mishap earlier with the card. And these are the different levels and tips that I used on that card. The reason I did that is because somebody had mentioned in my holiday video that I could have blended the colored pencil with the Mona Lisa odorless mineral spirits, and we're going to give that a try and see what happens. So I burned each level. Level 2 Burn Master Eagle, level 3 Burn Master Eagle. This is the nibs burner at 0.25, at 0.5 and 1, and this is the razor tip at 6. I guess it'd help if I keep it so you can see it. We are going to hopefully let me see if I can cut one of these lights so there's not such a glare. Let's start with, a lot of people have Prismacolor. We will start with that. We're going to color it in. I tried to pick darker colors that were easier to see. And we're going to see what happens with the grain when it gets wet. And we're also going to check out the colored pencil blender pen, Finesse, and see what that does as well. So, this is the paint thinner. Let's see if you can see that. Okay. Put a tiny bit. You want it very dry brush. Wipe off as much as I can. Pretty dry. Let's see. But remember, with this, doing it this way, you have to have a lot of pigment down first. So it does fill in the grain. But if you notice, where I haven't burned, it feathers out right there. The burn helps protect the rest of the wood grain. For now, we're going to try it with that Finesse pen too. I'll just do it from the other end. I got it on Amazon, but I noticed Michael's has it as well. Okay. And this is, it's formulated to blend wax-based color pencils. You can definitely smell the alcohol in this one. Let's see what we got. Let's see how close I can get it for you. So it does stain the wood, but you can see the feathering out. You see less feathering here than you do with the mineral spirits. Alright, let's try, you know what? This is the Prismacolor Verithin. These are harder pencils, and we're going to do it on the nibs burner. Alright, so let's try of course you would probably use a stiffer, smaller brush. This is just what I grabbed for the sample. You can tell where I have more pigment. But you can't see it. Okay, so we were trying to blend out the blue, and I was using the Mona Lisa paint thinner. And I am going to do this where I haven't burned anything, so we can see how the pigment moves through the grain. So actually I did this blue last night, and I'm coming back to it today, and it moves a little bit. So let's try the red, and we'll go darker here. See, I'm going with the grain going across doesn't really fill in too much. Now this is the Polychrormos, and let's see what happens here. My paintbrush is pretty dry, and let's do the red. It does brighten it up over our burning, but you can still see the feathering. You still have a bit of feathering, but you don't have any feathering where there's a burn. So let's look at it where we haven't burned. We'll do it here. We need a lot of pigment for the paint thinner to work. So this is the Verithin. It's a harder pencil than the regular Prisma and the regular Prisma. So I have no burn here. And let's start with the color pencil blender. Even though it says wax base, the Polychromos do still have wax in them, even though they're a harder pencil. So wipe it off. We'll do the blue and the green. Now the paint thinner. Let's see which works better. And let's try to do that without crossing over into the raw wood, bare wood. Let's just do it. Might need actually a smaller paintbrush to get in there. Okay, this one's smaller. Let's see if that works better. There may not be enough pigment, and we'll do the green. Now with the dry pigments, it does look like it works a little bit better. Now on the green, we did have some feathering out. There's a little bit. And I did not cross over into the raw. So there is some feathering. So because there's no burning there to stop it, the feathering happens. Let's see here. We're going to try an Albrecht Drurer. You know what? Maybe black would be the best. And I'm going to apply water to it because it's a watercolor pencil. Now with watercolor pencils, you have to use more liquid to move it. And I'm going to try to just be on the color. Okay, let's try. This one's another blue. Get it in the green. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in any further for you to see that there is a little bit of feathering. In fact, if you go back to the green, you can see it has moved along the grain. This one has done pretty good. Maybe you have to use very little liquid. Let's try it here. I'm actually wiping off my brush before I touch it. Activate. Let's see what happens. It is starting to feather on this end. It's not much, but it is there. Since there's no burning to protect it. I'm just curious to see how one of these watercolor pencils, how well they activate with the color pencil blender. And let's see. Actually, it doesn't look like it gets it wet enough. Well, that's good. Because I had somebody ask me why I didn't use this technique for the Christmas card. Back out a little bit. And that's because right along this edge, there's no burn line. There's nothing to stop the coloring from moving. And if I accidentally get it too wet, then it will bleed out. Here, we've had some pretty good control of not as much feathering as could happen. So you really have to watch how much water is on your brush. Let's see here. Let's see if we can make feathering happen. Let's see here. I think most people have Prismacolor. So right here. And then I'm going to go in with a really wet. See, if your brush is too wet, it will feather. I didn't cross the color line, but we have some feathering on the green. Let's see if I can get you to... that line coming through the green, that's just feathering. So if it's too wet without a burn, you will definitely have that problem. Same with the watercolor. So this is a watercolor pencil, and we're going to put too much water. Okay, I'm not wetting my brush or drying my brush off first, just on the color. I do see some feathering going on here, and see the green really has feathered up. That's a lot of feathering going on there. And the pink, dark pink is starting to do it. Let's see if I can let you see. Yep, you got feathering coming up here and right there. That's what you have to be worried about. Well, not worried, but cautious of if you get it too wet. Now let's see, a lot of people are using Inktense. Let's do an Inktense. Now they lay really well on the wood. You get more into the grain. So let's see what happens when we activate it. Not drying the brush off. Just on the color. That's definitely feathering out and wicking up. I'm going to let it soak in for a minute before I show you, because I don't want it to run. So you can really see it wicking out. This is what you don't want happening. The pink color, this blue, if your brush is too wet when you go to activate the pigment and there's no burning there, it will wick. So I just want to show you that real quick. Dry your brush just enough to move your pigment. Works much better than a whole lot of liquid with no burning. You know, I'm curious to see which white works the best. Excuse me. Let's see here. We'll do white here. And this one was Prismacolor, so we'll do Prismacolor here. That gets in the grain pretty good. And the Polychrormos white. I do Polychrormos down here. I think the Prismacolor is better. My Verithins are across the room, so I'm going to wait on that. Out of curiosity, though, let's try the Albrecht Drurers, because you do not, just because it's a watercolor pencil doesn't mean you have to activate it. So we will just do it here. We'll do it on here. Prismacolor is still better. And this is the Inktense. We'll put it down here. Well, I would say out of all of my whites, the Prismacolor works the best. You know what? I'm going to go grab a Verithin and we'll check that while we're at it. Okay, so here's the Verithin, and I will do it with the blue because that was a very thin pencil also. That's a good white as well. Okay, so out of all the whites, I would say these two whites. Let's see if you can, are the best. There you go. That's the Prismacolor. That's the Verithin right there. And now you can really, as the pigment's been drying, you can really see the feathering on the pink, the Inktense, and the Prisma with the paint thinner. So your brush has to be really dry to keep it from feathering out. So really it's up to you to choose how you want to smooth out your color. I still use, let's see here, we'll put right here, put some color here, same color, same pencil, and let's burnish it in. I would say, since this is the color pencil pen that we use to get rid of the wax, and the paint thinner, the burnishing makes it come out smoother. It's just hard to see with the light. Okay guys, so we looked at the color pencil and the burning, how it protects the wood, kind of acts like a stop. It's a stopper because we have damaged the wood, and it keeps the color from shifting and feathering out. We use the odorless mineral spirits and water and the finesse pen to see how the colors all blend out, which would be the best way to go, and how dry to have your brush when working with wood grain. It's really important because you will get this feathering. The one thing I did forget to discuss is if you are adding color to your burning, if it's on wood, you really need to spray a clear coat over the colored pencil before you do any other type of finishing that you choose to do. If you brush on your clear coat, whether the pencil has been blended out with anything that we used or it's just straight colored pencil, if you brush on a finish directly onto the colored pencil, it will smear. And after you've done all your hard work on the burning and your coloring and you've got your masterpiece, to brush on that finish and your colored pencil smears, it truly is heartbreaking. So easy, very easy solution. Just spray on whatever choice of clear coat you like. Spray that on first, a nice even coat. If you sand in between your finish layers, make sure that none of the wood is exposed. I would spray another layer of the clear coat on it and sand down again. That way it is completely sealed in, and then go ahead and brush your finish off and you won't have any kind of smearing. And I think I covered everything for this video. If you're new here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's either up here or down here, depending on, finger puppets, depending on how you're watching this, whether it's PC or mobile. Don't forget to hit the like button. Luckily, that's all down there for everybody. Woo. And don't forget to leave me a comment. That always helps the channel, and I love interacting with you guys. And if you have any questions, please ask. I'll see if I can get one more close-up while we're talking. There you go. See that feathering? Happy burning, guys.